Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome to Lady Khadija radiallahu anha. May God be pleased with her online college. Live lesson A-level maths, year 2 pure maths. Today's topic is binomial expansion. If you're following through in the book, it's at Excel Pearson textbook for A-level maths, the UK syllabus. And it's chapter 4, example 3. Today, it's about taking what you know about binomial expansion. It's the standard formula. Really, that's the only formula you need to know in the whole chapter. And just trying to apply it a little bit, trying to use it to give you something that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. So let's see what I mean. Let's take the example today. So it's example 3 in the textbook. Let me just read it to you. It says find the expansion, in other words, use the binomial expansion formula of square root 1 minus 2x. And you remember that a square root can also be written as the power of a half. So we're going to rewrite that in a second. Up to and including the term in x cubed, which means that you don't have to do too many terms. You want to do the first term, the second term, the x squared term, the x cubed term in the expansion. So that's what we're going to do in this lesson. And then tomorrow we're going to be able to, in the next lesson, we are then being asked to do a substitution. So in other words, the problem here is to take something that we wouldn't normally be able to find out, the square root of 2. If you didn't have a calculator, to work out the square root of 2 would be quite difficult. But what we're saying is that we're going to be able to get an answer. It's not going to be exact. That's why they're using the word approximation. But it will be a very good decimal approximation, a very good decimal number that will be very close to the answer the calculator gives you. And it will be done without using a calculator. All we're going to be doing is the binomial expansion and then doing a little substitution, and then we'll be able to get an answer. Slight problem is that it's going to be a bit tricky because the answer doesn't look like the square root of 2. Even if you look at the expansion here, you've got a square root, but what's inside is nothing like the number 2. So it's going to take, that second bit does take a little bit of thinking on your part. It is quite easy once you see it, but it will just take a little bit of thinking to start you off. So that's for the next lesson, but we've got to do part A before we get there. So we want to expand square root of 1 minus 2x, and really it's something you've seen before. It's not going to be new to you today. In fact, you should be seeing that it's quite easy now. So let's start with the first thing we want to do is just rewrite that in a clear way with the brackets. So 1 minus 2x, and then we want to put a power. Yesterday we were using negative powers because we had a 1 over, but here we don't have a 1 over, we just have a square root, and that's going to be power of a half. And then you want to remember what your binomial expansion formula is. What does it look like? So we can just follow that same kind of form. And we'll just write that above here. So the general formula is 1 plus x to the power n is equal to, you should be able to get the first two bits very easily now, 1 plus nx. And then comes the fraction bits with a power of x squared plus another fraction bit with a power of x cubed. So you can try filling in those bits yourself. X squared, so you'll have 2 factorial on the bottom. X cubed will have 3 factorial on the bottom. But what will be on the top? Can you remember that? On the x squared, we'll have 2 terms, which is n times n minus 1. And on the x cubed term, we'll have 3 terms, so n times n minus 1 times n minus 2. And now that's the formula there for you. So now you just have to use it. So try to use it with the power of a half as your n. And you've got minus 2x, which will go where the x is. So here you've got the x in the formula. That has to be replaced with this is minus 2x. So that minus 2x is going to go where the x is. And be careful when it comes to this. So it's the whole thing minus 2x, the whole thing then gets squared. And then the minus 2x will also get cubed as well. That's where the minus 2x goes. And then the n is just your half. So let's try that. First thing will be just 1. Then will come the n is a half. And x is your minus 2x. So that's going to become a half. And then times by minus 2x. Remember, don't simplify and substitute in one go. Just try to get the substitution done first. Okay, so that's the first two terms. Next one you can try. So I want to know what's going to be at the top of the bracket, on top of the fraction, what's going to be at the bottom of the fraction. And I'd also like to know the x squared, what's that going to turn into? Remember, don't simplify, just tell me what goes where. Please type it in when you're ready. I think I have Aisha on the call on the lesson. So waiting for your answer. So on the top, you're going to need to have n and n minus 1 in the formula. What's that going to turn into? Okay, looks like you got the right idea. So let's do that without the simplifying just to make sure it's clear. We have power of a half as your n, and then power of minus a half as your n minus 1. And you're right, that does become minus a quarter on the top. And then on the bottom, 2 factorial is just 2 times 1. And we don't really need the times 1, so we'll just write 2. And then the x squared, remember x will get replaced with minus 2x. So that gets put where the minus 2x. Let me just circle that in a different color so you can remember. So that's your minus 2x will get placed where the x's are. So you'll have just the minus 2x in the bracket and then squared on the outside. Good for the x squared term. Okay, and then carry on and see if you can do the whole of the x cubed term. But remember, don't simplify just yet. Okay, that was quick work, well done. So let's fill it in. On the top, you're going to have a half times minus a half. And then if you drop that minus a half by another one, you'll get minus 3 over 2. On the bottom, the formula says 3 factorial, so that's going to be 3 times 2. And in the brackets where the x goes in the formula, we're going to put minus 2x there. Okay, so far so good. You can't really go wrong this way if you just try to get the substitution done without simplifying on the way. And now just type it into your calculator what you need to and see if you can give me the whole answer. So starting with 1, what will come next? What will come after that? What will come after that? I'll give you a second to do that. Okay, first term, a half times minus 2, that's going to become a minus 1. So you have minus 1x or just minus x. Next one, you got the minus and the minus. That minus gets squared, so that's going to cancel out. So you are going to be left with a minus. And then half divided by, then divide by 2. Sorry, let me go back. So this 2 will get squared, so that'll become a 4. And then that gets divided by 2. And then you've also got the half and the minus half. So type it all into your calculator. And you should get minus a half. And that's the answer for the x squared term. And then just one term left. So again, just type it all into your calculator. You've got half times minus 3 over 2, all divided by 3 times 2. Here you've got the minus 2, which gets cubed. So try to make sure you get the minus 2 in brackets and cubed when you're typing that into your calculator. Okay, and you should end up with minus a half. So that's minus a half x cubed. Let's see if you got that. Just check you're working. I'm going to just check my answer as well. No, no problem there. Nothing that I can spot that's wrong. So that's it for today, and tomorrow we'll carry on with the second part and just have a think in the meantime. Now we've got the answer, we've got the expansion, which is just down here. Well, how are we going to use it to find a decimal approximation, a decimal answer, roughly, for the square root of 2? So when we look at what we expanded and we look at what we got as our answer, somehow we need to get an answer for the square root of 2. So we'll cover that in the next lesson. See you then, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be with you and the blessings of God.